We but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found within us. If we change ourselves, the tendencies in the world will also change. This paraphrased quote from Mahatma Gandhi is the basis of the program you are about to hear. I'm Dedelian, and this is Shining Stars, a program dedicated to searching out and bringing attention to individuals and organizations that are fostering positive change within our community and within our world. My guest on Shining Stars today is a member of the Lansing Community College family. She wears a lot of hats here at LCC. She's a photography instructor, a scholarship coordinator, and post-secondary enrollment coordinator as well. While having an email conversation with her, that's when I noticed that beyond her many titles here at the college, her signature also included an image, and it said Mental Health First Aider. I became curious to know more. I had never heard of it. I believe that conversations about mental health, they're definitely helpful in expanding the power of positivity further. So I invited her into the studio today. Her name is Andrea Tarry. Welcome to Shining Stars, Andrea.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so the organization is known as Mental Health First Aid, or MHFA. And like I said, until our email conversation, I had never heard of this. Can you summarize the goal of what MHFA is?
Yes. Mental Health First Aid is an organization that allows people to be trained in being mental health first aiders, which is what that logo was. I went through the training, and it doesn't give you the capacity to be a mental health professional, but to allow you to have the language and the capacity to be able to assist people that you're interacting with in basic tools to guide them for mental health. If you kind of think about it like a CPR training, helping people, the very basic things to survive.
Sure.
So the same thing, but for your mental health.
Well, that makes sense. So you're not exactly you're not trying to heal, but you're trying to point people in the direction to heal.
Absolutely.
So, as you know, this show's pretty much about positivity. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious to know what your definition of positive change is, and how do you feel that MHFA fits into that role?
So I think that, positive change means so many things to everybody. But for me, it is improving on something that I wasn't that good at before, and now I'm able to succeed better at it, or I'm learning a new skill. So you know how that quote, people often say, like, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So I take that super personally and try to find what I've learned every day, typically at the end of the day. But when I think about my mental health first aid training, I like to think about how I was able to also use that and create a positive change in somebody else's life. So it's not just what I'm learning and what positive change I'm influencing on myself, but also how I'm using that to influence it on other people.
Okay, so you've actually had the opportunity to utilize this for, how long have you been involved?
Well, so the first time, I've actually gone through the training 3 times, and the training it's a 2-year certification, so it expires after 2 years. And at my previous employer, I went through the training twice, and so I was really excited when it was offered here at LCC for a select group of people. So I took advantage of that and went through it again to be recertified. But okay. I've always used it beyond my certification. And what it is, there's sort of so they have an acronym called ALGE, and this is how you use the mental health first aider training, is that you assess whoever it is that you're talking with. You assess them for their risk of suicide or bodily harm, so you can assist them. You listen to them non-judgmentally, and then you can give them assurance and information and encourage them to find the appropriate professional help, and encourage them to give themselves self-help
Sure.
and appropriate strategies or support strategies that they can find for themselves. So I use this all the time, and not even just with my students here at LCC, but with family, with myself, with my friends, pretty much anybody that you come in contact with. When there is something going on in their lives, this is something that you can use to help guide them to moving forward rather than kind of downward spiral.
I don't really know how to phrase the question, but what I'm curious to know as you're talking about, is what the training does provide. So, and again, I'm not exactly sure how to phrase the question. I'm not sure if it's coming across correctly or not. But like, for instance, I think you could hopefully maybe give some sort of example.
Yeah. So the training is, now I'm forgetting. It's a 2-day training. This last training that I did was virtual. Previously, it was in person, and so they were actually quite different when it's virtual versus in person, as you can imagine. But it's a lot of scenarios, so a lot of different types of situations that you might find yourself in. With another person or a group of people. There's a lot of not definitions, but understanding of different types of mental health situations or mental health illnesses. So really understanding, sort of what the difference is between anxiety, bipolar disorder, depression, different things like that, and how to kind of put yourself in that person's shoes.
Okay.
And then, so it's a lot of working through those and working through how you would use the LG approach within those scenarios.
Okay.
So that's kind of how the training works.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I talk about it a lot on this show is I have never found myself to be a naturally positive person, and I'm not going to assume anything about you, but when you say you've actually kind of used the training on yourself, I have to kind of come to that assumption that you're not like naturally positive, or it is, or I mean, you seem very positive, but it's one of those things that I feel like people have to work at. You actually have to consciously go, I need to remain positive in this situation. Do you feel like you're one of those people?
Well, I would say that this is a tough one because I think that everyone that knows me really well would say, oh, yeah, she's totally a naturally positive person.
You seem to have a smile on your face all the time.
I do. And people would describe me as bubbly and outgoing, but I would say that I am an extroverted introvert that I know my boundaries, and it's taken me a long time to learn my boundaries. And I think just like the majority of people, I have anxiety and I have depression, and but I also work really hard at maintaining a positive attitude. And I've also I think that at the beginning of my life, I think it was more natural for me to be positive. Okay. And so I'm the youngest of 4. So, right. So I was tortured, but in a loving way. And so I was able to kind of take what was always coming at me and understand that it was in fun and in love, with a way to always find that silver lining. And so whenever there is sort of, those moments in life that are really heavy and dark, I try to find the gratitude and the blessings and make sure that I'm aware of those and just always, see the positivity that is overtaking what's actually darkening me.
Well, and it's funny that you said that, because I feel the same thing. Is as a younger person, yes, as a child, I was more positive. But I also realized that a lot of that anxiety that I have about anything in life came from being when I was a child. It's one of those things where you're like, well, that was, yeah, I recognize that. And of course, as a child, you've always got people that are guiding you and helping you out. Is there anybody particular in your life that you feel like kind of helped instill the positive side of you or gave you that ability?
Well, so I actually think about this all the time. Whenever somebody's like, who influenced you, or who's your hero, or right. There isn't one person.
Okay.
So I don't know if other people are like this, but I take a little bit from literally everybody I encounter, whether it's a total stranger that I am like interacting with for 2 seconds, or somebody I've known my entire life, or even somebody that, like a family member that passed that I never met, that passed before I was even born. I feel like there's something I'm able to take from all of those people. Sure. Maybe that sounds weird. I don't know. Not at all. But I feel like that is what influenced me. Even if it's a negative situation, I learn something from it and how it affects me. I'm very influenced. I feel very deeply and take on other people's energy very easily. And so I'm always able to learn something from that and even understand the way it makes me feel. So if it's a really good feeling, if I understand that it's making me feel good, I understand that if I reciprocate something like that to somebody else, it's going to do the same thing, and vice versa if it's something that's negative, and like not to do that.
Sure. Well, and that is always my thought process too. Even those negative people in your life play a role, and very often I feel like those are the people that are actually trying to teach me something.
Yeah.
Something, whether it be something about myself or something about how to deal with certain situations. And of course, getting back to the MHFA, obviously you've had quite a few situations, or you've. I must. So how does it work? Is it specifically your world, or are you somehow connected nationally at all?
No. Well, so this is a national organization. So
yes. And what I'm getting at is what's the background? How did this come about?
Yeah. So the actual organization.
Yes.
Yeah. So the history of it, this was the Mental Health First Aid was created in 2001 by a nurse in Australia named Betty Kitchener and Anthony Jorm, a literary professor, a mental health literary professor, and they created this in Australia, and their organization was called Mental Health First Aid Australia, and then the U.S. adapted it, and now it's part of Mental Health First Aid International, which is also part of the National Council for Behavioral Health.
Okay.
So you can find information at mhfa.org, and you can find this information also on the National Council .org website too.
Okay, you got ahead of the game there. I was going to ask you that next.
Sorry, yeah.
So now I know you said it was fairly pricey to actually kind of become a mental health
first aider.
Yeah, you say it for me. Sure. Mental health first aider. So it sounds like most of the time people probably go through their place of employment to become one of these.
Typically, if you're going to become a mental health first aider, it's usually a professional development opportunity through your employer, where they are bringing in the trainers and then doing this as like a group to train their employees. You can get certified as a mental health first aider on your own, and I know that Michigan State University offers trainings. I don't know what their schedule is, but anybody can sign up, and you can pay for it yourself. But typically, your place of employment would bring you in as they would bring them in, and you would be able to participate that way.
Okay, as a nonprofit, does it work off of a volunteer basis at all? Like even if they don't pay, You know, does this make sense?
They have very few employees, so
Okay.
they don't have very many trainers,
Okay.
so that are like actually from their organization, but they have a train the trainer. So what you can do too, which is really cool, is that so for example, when I said like you can take these training sessions at Michigan State, they have trainers that went through the train the trainer at Michigan State University. So that means that Michigan State paid to have them be trained. So now they can train their staff or community members either for free as a nonprofit or for a fee if there's somebody outside of their organization. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
that
we
is
could
pretty
have
cool.
our own trainers here if we wanted to.
We do. We got you.
Well, I'm a mental health first aider, not a trainer. I would love to be a trainer. That would be so great.
So what I'm kind of wondering too is I mean, I have to assume the website has some information for people seeking help.
It does. It has resources. Just like when I mentioned in the ALGE acronym, the first E, the encourage appropriate professional help, and the encourage the self-help or support strategies. They have a list of organizations, including, some that we'll see kind of around LCC, like in the bathrooms or on the walls of phone numbers and websites that students and staff and faculty can utilize for, that are free help that anybody can call and utilize.
Okay.
Yes.
Beyond, talking about organizations and things like that that we're involved with, I also sometimes like to dive into the people that I talk to because I enjoy talking about the organization, but I also want to know a little bit about, because obviously this brings you joy in some way to be a part of this.
Yes.
What else brings you joy in life?
Oh my gosh. So many things bring me joy. I'll name a couple. So one thing that brings me a ton of joy is listening to audiobooks. I'm on
board with that.
Yeah, I love listening to the British and Australian accents. I don't know, and they always have to have some sort of like thriller, murder twist of some sort. And I'm a gardener. Not too much of veggies, but lots of flowers. I'm more of a flower gardener, so we turned our entire backyard into a giant flower garden. And I love my kitty cat. He brings me tons of joy. My family and my friends, my husband, of course, they bring me joy. But probably one of the biggest things that brings me the most joy is when I see people, like strangers or even people I know, just like those random little things that you see people do.
That's one of my favorite things.
Yes. Just like when you see a stranger holding a door for somebody or somebody spills their bag and you see other people just coming to their aid, or I don't know, just like those little things. Like I see that kind of stuff and it just like, I beam. I just like my whole body tingles in warmth, you know?
And it seems like, as we moved through the pandemic, we saw a lot of negative stuff, but at the same time, you saw so much more positivity coming out of like the human race in general. It's just been awesome.
Yeah, it has.
I hope that continues.
Me too.
Usually I ask, what do you love most about what you do when I get to this question? But here's my thing. You've got, you're here at LCC, so you do so many things that I didn't know what to specifically pick on or pick at or focus in on. There we go. So tell me.
Okay. So
what do you love most about what you do? And you just answer it the way you feel like you want to.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, like you said at the beginning, I wear so many hats. And of course, I love interacting with students. But I think what I love the most about what I do is because I do a ton of just like the background work, right? Like the paper pushing work that has to get done. If it doesn't get done, these programs aren't going to function. The students aren't going to get what they need. The scholarships won't get awarded. And I strangely enjoy all of that paper pushing. I'm really minimizing it by calling it paper pushing because it's a lot more than that. But,
I get that.
like sitting, being in those meetings, having those phone calls, all those emails flying back and forth, the spreadsheets. I love doing that because I know that all of that work is making these programs run and these students being able to continue on in their education. And that work has to happen. And that really, I enjoy, that's what I like doing it.
Well, it's awesome that you're a part of our community. So
Thank you.
Very cool. Again, the website is mentalhealthfirstaid.org if you want to get to know a little bit more about them and, of course, what they do. And it's awesome that you were a part of it. And it was awesome that you could come in here on the show. I do have one final question for you. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right. If you had the ability to snap your fingers, put one thought into the collective consciousness of the entire human race at the same time, and to some degree, you're getting that opportunity right now because you're about ready to say it, what would that be?
I would say that I would like everybody to remember that we are like 99.9% the same, right? Physically.
I'd say so.
I think that's what scientists say. I'm not an anatomy and physiology person, but we're all so different too, right? In our personalities, we all look slightly different, in, our whatever, like our eye set or the shape of our nose or whatever it is. But we're all striving to live our best life, to survive. We all need those basic needs of food and water and shelter. And we all want to love and laugh and have a good time. And if we can just remember that is like what you're trying to do in your own bubble, what I'm trying to do in my own bubble is virtually the same with some very slight differences. I just feel like we would all be living in such harmony, if we could all just remember we're all just trying to truck on by and have like a really great life.
So to summarize, acceptance, non-judgment, and love?
Yes.
Okay.
Truthfulness, compassion, tolerance.
Yes, all of that.
All of that.
And everything in between.
Yep.
Andrea, thank you once again for coming to and joining me here on Shining Stars.
Thank you for having me.
Remember, we can all contribute something good to this world, no matter how big or small. A simple smile, a friendly gesture, that's all it takes to expand the power of positivity 1 inch further. I encourage you to find your shining star within by being the change you want to see. Thanks so much for listening to Shining Stars and, of course, sharing your time with me today. I'm Dedalian, and you can listen to this episode of Shining Stars on demand, along with other LCC Connect programs at lccconnect.org.